You're listening to the Full Court Press with your host, Drew Duncan. Don't you dare touch that dial. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Full Court Press. I am your host, Drew Duncan. We're live on 99.5 ESPN, Emporia's home for sports. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan 83. Additionally, you can find ESPN Radio at 99.5 ESPN on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And, of course, you can call in the show at 620-343-6143. It is Talk to Me Tuesday. But I got to tell you, Talk to Me Tuesday is turning into Tell Me Tuesday with all these interviews that we're constantly lining up on a Tuesday. But that's okay, because it's better than just hearing my opinion all day. And I am more than excited to have the next guest on the program that we have with us. Her name is April Rosales, and she is the Emporia State softball coach. April, I got to tell you, it is a real treat to have you on the program with me today.
Well, we appreciate it. We're glad that we can be here.
April, if I may here really quick, and because I just want to be very blunt and honest, from an outsider looking in perspective, going into the MIAA tournament, I don't think the expectations were high. But you all succeeded, and I think that first game against Washburn really gave you all the ammunition that you needed. Would that be an accurate statement?
Well, I think that we actually didn't have that approach going in. We had high expectations for ourselves, and we've had those high expectations all year. And so for us, it was a game that it was Washburn, which is one of our biggest rivals. And so for us to go in and take it to them right away, that was something that definitely set the tone. But I wouldn't say that it was the igniting force by any means.
Obviously, April, one of the things that we look at when we think about winning and losing is winning is not easy. People think that it is because we see certain players or coaches like a LeBron or a Nick Saban that are so overly successful that they make winning look easy when it isn't. What do you instill in your players when you go into these tournament situations, knowing that the season was kind of up and down, but you kind of had this second breath of life?
Yeah, I just told them that we had nothing to lose, and that's kind of what we've been talking about most of the year. And it's not how you start the season, it's how you finish the season, and that's kind of the mentality that we've always had. I actually talked to them about midway through the year about the last time we went to the World Series, we started the year 3-7. And so I think that's a perfect example of how this team has been able to fight through adversity, and I think that's what our kids have done. They've really worked hard to come back and just go out and compete every day, and you're seeing that success and that hard work pay off now.
April, the thing about fighting through those moments is you have to be mentally tough. As the old saying goes, the game is 90% mental and 10% physical. What were some of the moments, though, that you knew in this tournament that Emporia State was going to be able to run the gauntlet and make it through the MIAA?
Well, I think that the Northwest game was probably the most exciting, that second game of the tournament. We were up 4 runs going into the top of the 7th. We ended up giving up 8 runs just in the top of the 7th inning. And, I didn't have to say anything or much anyway to the kids when they came in. They were all fired up, and they knew that they were going to get it done. And, Danielle Sprinkle was the one that started that all off for us that inning. And, the kids came back and were able to bounce back. And we ended the game with no outs, and we had scored 5 runs. So super exciting moment at that point. And, when you can get through the first day with 2 wins, that's a huge factor for you in this tournament. And I think that was definitely something that really got us going and believing.
One of the things that I talked about on the air when I was discussing the MIAA tournament was that first day, and the fact that you all had to play back-to-back games, softball, baseball, either way. It is a very grueling game. It's day in and day out. It's double headers. It's triple headers. But it appeared to me that your team, especially through that first day, showed a tremendous amount of stamina and heart. Would that be an accurate assessment?
Oh, definitely an accurate assessment. I think that's something that these kids are kind of used to. That's how we do our conference, is doubleheaders every day. And so I think that's something that our pitchers are definitely used to that, and then our kids are used to it as well. It doesn't mean they weren't exhausted at the end, because I think it was more emotionally draining than it was really physically draining, to be honest with you. But that entire tournament, they were ready to go. They didn't care how they felt. We had some injuries that were a little bit hidden, sickness that we tried to hide, and I think that those were things that the kids were going to go out and compete regardless of how they actually felt that day.
We're live on 99.5 ESPN Radio. We're talking to ESU softball coach April Rosales. Danielle Sprinkle, who she just mentioned, will join us momentarily later in the program, I should say. Coach, what is it about Danielle that sets her apart from other players that you've had? Obviously, senior leadership is something that we talk about, but I don't think it's something that we really know about, because not everybody has had that experience in terms of being in the role position of having senior leadership. What is it about Danielle that separates her?
I just think it's her work ethic. I think that she comes in and works hard every single day, regardless of whether it's defense or whether it's offense. I know her offensive numbers are outstanding, but defensively she's been super solid for us at first base, and she's really fought to actually keep that position this year. We had, a freshman come in and initially was potentially just going to be our DH for us, and Danny came in and completely earned that spot and has continued to earn that spot day in and day out, and I think that says a lot for her character, not giving in and not giving up on herself, for one, and also pushing those around her to be better each and every day.
Coach, one of the things I love when I look at your roster, I see people from Baldwin, Kansas, Overland Park, Wellington, Augusta, Salina, like Danielle. I think Emporia State has done a very good job at recruiting here at home. What do you attribute that to?
Well, we have good kids here and around us. I think that there's something to say for the high school coaches around these parts, and then, their competitive ball coaches, and just that they're actually teaching them the game. They're learning the game. Danielle's a great example of that, too. She really knows the game and loves teaching that to other people as well. And so I think that those are huge things that play a part, and just the competitiveness. I mean, that's what we look for as an athlete that's going to compete each and every day. And I think we're pretty lucky to find that here pretty close to home.
Recruiting is a monster, if you will, that can really never truly be fed in my mind. How do you assert yourself? And what I mean by that is I had the great privilege of interviewing Howard Schnellenberger one time, and the way that he related it to when he was at the University of Miami was we wanted to keep what he called infidels out. He wanted to keep them away from certain areas, and he wanted to take them over. Are you that aggressive? Is that part of your plan, is to, hey, we want to make sure that we keep these outsiders out and kind of take these areas? Or do you just go where you feel like some of the best softball is being played?
Yeah, we just go where, the best softball is being played. And, I think that the history of this program and the people that have come before me, whether it be coaches or players, have really set the tone for that and done a lot of the work for me in that facet, and that I don't have to, really sell the program, because what's been done here and the history of the program sells the program itself. And so then once we get the kids on campus, it's, just being honest with them and telling them they're going to get, we can't promise them anything but a chance to be on our team, and they have to earn everything after that. And so I think it's pretty simple after that. Our school and our community and our campus really sell itself, and then they get to talk to our kids, and, that if they haven't been sold before that, then they're definitely going to be sold once they talk to them.
We're talking to April Rosales right here on the Full Court Press, 99.5 ESPN Radio, Emporia's home for sports. I am your host, Drew Duncan. She is the ESU softball coach. Coach, you've got a lot of background here in Emporia. What is it about this town that you would say you love the most?
The community. I mean, the people here are absolutely phenomenal, whether they be actually on campus or just out and about. I've kind of talked about it in a couple other interviews this week, but we definitely felt the love while we were down in Oklahoma City, and we're 3.5 hours from home, and we know not everybody could make it down there, but they were still letting us feel the love, and that helped us kind of propel a little bit further as well, I think.
April, one of the things about traveling is it can be difficult when you're away from home, especially, I think, in a tournament situation. I used to play baseball. I know about going and traveling with these tournaments, how difficult it is on your body and taking buses or flights or whatever it is you got to do in order to get to where you got to go. And all that traveling is so exhausting. How do you keep your kids on a swivel and keep them upbeat and positive and ready to go at all times?
Dance parties. No, they that's a little bit truthful. I have to give a shout out to our bus driver, Ed Linden, because he definitely drives us everywhere and we don't have to worry as coaches about having to do that. So big shout out to him, but he also lets the girls, plug their aux cord in and I'm not kidding, have dance parties on the bus. So they stay pretty loose. They're pretty loose and laid back crowd, and they love hanging out with each other and doing things like that. So we had several of those this week.
What's the song that they're playing the most right now? I gotta know.
That's a good question. What? I mean, they run the gauntlet, to be honest with you. There's not one song that they're playing over and over again. The last one I remember is "We Are the Champions." But other than that, they kind of...
Hold on. How do you dance to "We Are the Champions"? Is there like a remix out there I don't know about or something?
They make it a remix, whatever it is. They're going to have fun with it. So, but anything from country to rap to whatever, they've got it going on, even if I don't like the choices that are coming out.
That is the one thing that I can say that I really miss the most about playing athletics is that time in the locker room, what that place means. It's going on right now. People are talking about Tom Brady and whether or not the locker room and this and this and this. I've always said that the locker room is a sacred place where you can say things to each other and they stay there. You can be different people. You can be yourselves when you're there in that locker room. Coach, can you speak to that for me?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's for sure the truth. And I have actually moved my locker out of the locker room up to my office and solely been up there this year. So I think it's never been truer for these guys to be able to do that. But that's a place for them. They come, they show up. We start a warm up 2 hours before a game and they're there 3 hours before a game just so that they can hang out and, just be with each other. And this group, like I said, is really close. And I think that that's a huge part of it and that they love spending time with each other. And I think that, shows up on the field when they're playing together as well. They're out there for each and every one out there. And we talk a lot about the 1/18th mentality. There's 18 kids on the team and each one of them has a role that they have to play and each one's important. And so I think that, that camaraderie that they develop in the locker room, on the bus, just off the field as well is just as important as what they do on the field.
We're talking to April Rosales. She is the ESU softball coach. Coach, I got to tell you, it was a real pleasure having you on the program. And as I do with all of my guests, you are certainly no exception to the rule. I would love for you to take a couple of moments and just say whatever it is that's on your mind.
Well, I just want to, again, say thank you to, our community and the fans and those that were there, those that weren't there, following us online, whatever they were doing, the text messages that we've received, the social media posts and all of that. I think we got a post from every single ESU athletic team. So I think that really shows that, Hornet Nation and Hornet family is strong and that's something we're just as proud of.
Stingers up for sure. Thank you very much, Coach. I really do appreciate your time today.
No problem, Drew. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anytime. All right, everybody. You just heard her right there. She is Coach April Rosales of the ESU Ladies Softball Hornets. They just won the MIAA tournament down in Oklahoma City with a 6-game sweep. Certainly an incredible story, as Coach pointed out, to never giving up. This is the Full Court Press. I am your host, Drew Duncan. We're live on 99.5 ESPN Radio, Emporia's home for sports. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan 83. We'll be back with her first baseman, Danielle Sprinkle, right after this. Don't you dare touch that dial.